The perspective of the theorist that stood out to me the most from the Mooney text was Maria Montessori. I thought it was pretty remarkable that she was a female theorist in 1907 doing work that most men were only doing. I also thought it was remarkable that she received a scholarship and graduated from med school. She opened up a children's house to teach in the slums of Italy. She was appointed government inspector of the schools in Italy, which means that her perspective was pretty important in terms of education. She was also nominated 3 times for the Nobel Prize. Chapter 2 opens up with a quote from Maria Montessori that says, "The greatest sign of success for a teacher is to be able to say, 'The children are now working as if I did not exist.'" This quote's pretty impactful because it means that we have done our jobs as teachers and as educators, and we've taught full independence to our students. It also means that our students have mastered skills and materials that we have taught them. This quote sets up the theories of Maria Montessori pretty good because they all have a lot to do with independence. She believes in sensory-centered environments. This means that she creates a learning setting of beauty and order in a stimulating environment. She also believes that children learn best through their sensory experiences, and she also believes that it is the teacher's responsibility to provide sights, textures, sounds, and smells for children in an environment that will better help them learn. I see this as true because in the school that I work at, we have a sensory corner which helps with our students' behavior or also helps just appeal to the student and makes it a place where they want to learn. And we have comfortable rugs and a calm color scheme and comfortable blankets and sensory things such as like bubbles that kind of help create a nice stimulating environment for our students. Another one of her theories says that materials are to be kept accessible for learners, and this will also help them learn more. It will direct a learner from needing assistance. So if you keep your supplies out of the reach of the student, it will increase their responsibility and initiative to go get the supplies, to find things for themselves. And it also sets up a notion that if your classroom is organized and labeled, your students are more likely to grab for them in their appropriate place. And also that if there is a place for everything, then our students know where to put things away and also grab them from. Another theory she sets up states it's centered around competence and responsibility. She firmly believes that if a learner is capable, then they are. Then they're able. They're able to do whatever they put their mind to. And that adults and teachers need to stop doing the work or things for their students. And it is our job as instructors to encourage students to do things more for themselves. It will help them work on building responsibility and senses of competencies. And it is our instructional obligation to build these responsibilities and increase these competencies. She also says that the learning environment must take into account a learner's fascination with real-life jobs and work. This means that real-life circumstances are more beneficial to an individual's self-esteem and work ethic than stimulated ones. This is true for me because I work with my students on developing job skills and picking up skills that will help them in the workplace. And one skill that we work on is wrapping napkins. And when we wrap napkins in the classroom, my students don't want to do it or they think it's boring and lame. But I was able to get my students into a pizza parlor right by the school that I work at, and they wrap the napkins there, they wrap the silverware there, and the place, being outside of the classroom and being in a real work environment, really makes them want to wrap the silverware and like learn the skill and pick it up. Also, Montessori believes in large blocks of open-ended learning time. This means that a Montessori teacher plans very little. She says that a teacher should let their students be engaged in serious, work-concentrated subject matter that interests them. And she argues that teachers have more time to move about freely to assist their students. This part, I don't necessarily agree with. I think that it might distract from a mastery of general learning goals and objectives. It also raises a question: how do you gauge a student's performance if they're all learning things that they want to learn, or at different levels? Then how can you really gauge their performance? So I don't really know how I feel about that one. She also believes in close observation. She truly takes into an account the student's perspective, which I thought was very interesting. She gets to know the student's individual wants, needs, likes, dislikes. She wants to know what is bothering the student, what is difficult for them, what they find difficult. And she finds that reflecting on the answers to these questions from the student's perspective will better help our students learn. She also wants to figure out what our students need and what they're not receiving from us as an instructor. This allows for her to stray away a little bit from the curriculum and kind of dive into things that the students want to learn about. And it makes the classroom a more peaceful and desirable learning atmosphere in general for the student.